You're lying in bed at 2 a.m., obsessing over that $12 coffee you bought yesterday, calculating how that same money could have grown to $847 over 30 years if you'd invested it instead. The psychological traits that make you feel like you're too intense about money, that obsessive conscientiousness, that emotional instability around spending, that weird social anxiety about financial choices are actually the exact same traits that create self made millionaires. What feels like a personal flaw when you're struggling financially becomes your biggest advantage when channeled correctly. That meticulous tracking you thought made you neurotic, it's actually delayed gratification, one of the core habits of self made millionaires. The same psychological pattern that makes you feel too intense about money, calculating compound interest on coffee purchases, researching every financial decision for hours, saying no to social spending that doesn't align with your goals, is what separates people who build wealth from those who don't. Your brain isn't broken. It's wired for wealth accumulation in ways that only become obvious once you stop judging the intensity and start channeling it systematically. This conscientiousness, this emotional attunement to financial choices, this resistance to social pressure, these aren't character flaws. They're the exact psychological machinery that turns intention into compounding results. But here's what that exhaustive research habit actually is: risk management strategy. What you call overthinking is actually calculated risk tolerance, the psychological trait that separates people who build lasting wealth from those who lose it to impulsive decisions. When you spend 3 hours researching a $200 purchase, you're not being neurotic. You're practicing the same risk assessment protocols that wealthy investors use instinctively. Your careful, methodical approach to financial decisions isn't anxiety. It's strategic caution that protects capital and compounds returns over decades. The discomfort you feel making financial moves without exhaustive research, that's not a flaw. That's your risk tolerance calibrated toward preservation, which is exactly how people build and keep wealth. So you spend hours researching that $200 purchase. Do you think that makes you neurotic or financially strategic? Comment your answer below. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually start building wealth with these traits. That discomfort, declining expensive dinner plans, isn't social awkwardness, it's boundary setting. When you feel that stomach knot saying, I can't afford this right now, while friends order another round, you're practicing the exact same financial discipline that creates wealth. The people with the deepest financial security tend to steer conversations toward ideas, travel, family, work they find meaningful. Money becomes a kind of background hum they've stopped hearing. Your reluctance to discuss financial goals isn't shame, it's emotional independence from social spending pressure, protecting your wealth building capacity. 5 years into building wealth, that antisocial intensity transforms completely. People who keep detailed budgets and watch spending discover their obsessive planning was strategic thinking. When friends called your research sessions excessive, you were developing the sustained focus that wealthy individuals use for consistent, long term investing. That discomfort with spontaneous spending wasn't social anxiety, it was your brain protecting capital for compound growth. Most wealthy Americans engage with advisors not because of a single life event, but because their finances have become more complex, requiring exactly the kind of methodical attention you've been practicing. Your too serious approach to money was the disciplined mindset separating those who build lasting wealth from those who spend it quickly. Your psychological profile becomes conducive to wealth building through the exact traits you've been practicing. That obsessive planning isn't neurotic. It's thinking beyond the immediate moment, focusing on future gains and sustainable wealth, allowing patience and discipline to guide your financial decisions. Your methodical research sessions were developing the exact mental framework that separates people who build wealth from those who spend it. You possess a strong internal locus of control, believing you are the direct architect of your own destiny. And when financial losses occur, you blame your own strategy rather than external forces. Nothing about your intense relationship with money needs fixing. These aren't flaws, they're wealth building machinery when channeled toward accumulation rather than anxiety. Subscribe for more psychology that helps you see you're not broken. This next video reveals another flaw that's actually normal.